Welcome to Build. I am your host, Ricky Camilleri. Acclaimed TV hitmaker Dick Wolf takes his talents for street and sex crimes to the Federal Bureau of Investigation with the new CBS show FBI, where two agents played by Missy Peregrym and Zeeko Zaki work the field office in New York. Let's take a look.
We got eyes on the door.
Copy. I'm not pushing, but do you want to talk about it?
If there was something to say. A 7-year-old boy died today. His mother blames me. It just...
Bell, looks like we might have our target.
Positive ID?
Not yet. Need to see his face. Stand by.
It looks like Wayne.
Yeah, that's definitely him. Go. Last thing we need tonight is a car chase.
Ooh, everybody please welcome Missy Peregrym Zeeko Zaki of FBI. Guys, thanks so much for being here. Congratulations on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
I think so many questions go into doing a show about the FBI right now that normally 5 years ago would not go into doing a show about the FBI in a lot of ways. It would be a procedural, it would be fun in a lot of ways. You would be kind of exploring topics or contemporary topics that people care about, but right now, it's a little bit different. How much of that was on your guys' mind while making the show, while signing on? Was any of that at the forefront yet?
I mean, yeah, that was one of my first questions about the show, is how much we were going to tackle the politics of the FBI and what has been in the news. We're not. Because, actually, what's been seen in the news is not really what's going on the ground. It's 1% to 2% of what's happened, and it's been a big, big deal. But that's not really what the show's about. The show's about the agents and the hard work that they put into their jobs and saving us from things happening. And that's what I was really excited to portray.
Right. The FBI is a massive organization, and a few tweets don't necessarily affect everybody on the ground.
Right.
No.
There's, 99.9% of the FBI who has nobody sort of representing them, or they're not talked about, is the people that we need, that we're trying to represent and are working hard to represent and give them, a good face and a good reputation, and kind of like get that back into the mix.
My other question about doing a show like this is you have Dick Wolf, the executive producer of Law & Order, as we see here.
He's really new. He's really new. I don't know if you guys have heard of him.
Sort of an unknown. I can't believe they're taking a risk on this guy.
I feel like he's going to be big one day.
But even though it's him and it's his production company going into it, and you're at CBS, I mean, I imagine this is the kind of show that when you build it, they're building it with the hopes that this is going to last quite some time, like a CSI kind of thing, or like a Law & Order kind of thing, and that there's a little bit of pressure behind it. Is that something that you guys feel going into it?
Not at all.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not even just the show. I mean, he has the ideas of making this a franchise.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. And so this is
New York,
one
FBI Chicago, FBI
Right.
Miami.
Right. Which
Maybe
is
we
really
can
great.
do one season of FBI Miami. It might be nice. After these winters.
Yeah, so I think that they have a really long-term goal with this. I will just fall down on the ground and start crying if I think about that stuff. I got to deal with this one day. Let's get through today. Let's film this next episode.
Where are my sides?
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot. It's been, for me anyway, but I put a lot of pressure on myself anyway, no matter what project that I'm doing, to put everything I have into it. And so, I don't know. It doesn't really matter what it is or who's behind it. I really want to give everything I've got. That being said, we're already working with somebody who has a great reputation, and you know what you're going to get when you sign in to watch this show. This one is severely impactful, though. I mean, it's huge, and we thought, well, this is what I said to Zeeko. I'm like, Z, relax. The pilot's going to be crazy. But it's not going to be like this. We'll find a rhythm. It's going to be great.
They can't rate that. I mean, these eps can't be this big.
Yeah,
we can't have these. Every script is just like,
what?
It feels bigger than the one before, and it's just like, how is this?
Which is great.
Yeah,
it's great once it's made, but we got to make them. So when I think about doing this for 10 years, I'm like, I've got to get through
It's
the next
daunting,
episode.
but it's cool. It's cool.
You're not really doing like a walk and talk or showing up and just being kind of like, this is the case, and then that's it. You're actually, you guys are in the street doing a lot of work on the
Right.
show.
Yeah,
and they're
it's a
just
lot.
they're huge. These episodes are huge. They're adding days. We're doing like, the scope of them is just, it's incredible. And I think it's just a testament to like how big these actual cases that the FBI are doing. It's not, some a robbery down the street or something. These are huge, cross state lines, terrorists, mafia, and they've been in films and stuff like that. But bringing it to TV is in 45 minutes with commercials is exciting.
So what was it? Did you guys have FBI supervisors on set or anything like that? Did you meet with people from the FBI to really do some research and dig in?
I missed out on that. I got here late, so I didn't get to go to the FBI and do that. Zeeko did. We have a consultant who's on set. I have a nickname for him, but
Dan the Man.
yeah, so I'm not supposed to say it.
Dan the Man.
Okay, I said we're not supposed to say it.
Sorry.
This is us on set, by the way. You're not supposed to do that. So. No, but it's amazing to hear his point of view and what he's been through. And usually for like cop stuff, it was like, hey, how do you guys enter the room, or how do you, whatever the tactical stuff is. And now I feel like I've got that. This is a very different thing to be working with people on an intellectual level. Mm-hmm. It's very different than a police force. So they work with the police force, but it's interesting. And you're going to meet other characters in the pilot where they're superior at their job. Very intellectual, very technology savvy, something.
It's like a different way of attacking these crimes. They don't get a phone call and hop up from their desk, grabs their gun, and go. It's like very meticulous, checks and balances. You make sure that when they knock on that door, like they have everything figured out, and it's just go time. So,
we show how to get there.
Right.
We show what they use to get there so that we can go and have the takedown.
And it's funny because, we're trying to kind of split the whole adding drama. It is TV, so there is, high stakes and excitement and stuff. And then, we'll talk to some people like, how would, and it's always everything's very calm and smooth and collected. And like, so it's just crazy how different it is than you'd think it was. And hopefully we can show that.
Right. I imagine for like the FBI supervisor that's like in the writer's room, they're like, would it be like this? And they're like, well, it's a little more red tape, and maybe it'd take a little bit longer. And the writers have to be like, okay, but what is the next step after that, so that we can move the drama along a little bit?
Yeah. Otherwise, it would be one episode for the whole season because it's sometimes it takes them years to kind of close.
Your character like.
I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
I really like paperwork.
You want a show of you doing
I like
paperwork?
filing. I like organization.
We'll do a contained episode where it's just
it's just me.
We need those files.
So you said that you put a lot of pressure on yourself going into shooting all the time. I imagine that helps with your character, who comes from a family of people that work in law enforcement and is a bit high-strung, puts a lot of pressure on herself.
Right.
High-strung may be the wrong word, excuse me.
No, I don't take that negatively. There's an element where it is really, really intense, and there's not a lot of room for error. And I sort of feel that way with work. While it's not on me. Obviously, we have a whole team here and in LA and CBS. Everybody has a really big job to do, and everybody's working really hard to make the best show we can. I really care to make set really fun and efficient so that we can get through the days and people feel like it's worth the sacrifices they're making, because they're missing out on a lot of time with their family and friends, and the balance is really hard, especially when you're starting a show. So you kind of create your own little family on set, and that really matters to me, that's healthy.
People don't recognize that when they talk about movies and TV, how much, not just like actors and everybody gets to talk about missing out on their family in the days, but the grips and the people who are in the crew.
Oh, add 4 hours a day.
Exactly.
To whatever,
Taking
the
the
actors
trucks in and
do,
out.
and it's.
I mean, not really. You keep saying that. I got to correct you.
Was it 2 hours?
I mean, we're here before they are to get ready.
Yeah, but then they wrap
Everybody
out.
has the same
It's the whole process. But yeah, it's insane. They show up, and I can't believe I walk into set every day, and I'm like, everyone's here again? Like, this is crazy. Like,
Yeah. I think, you know what is actually similar
You
to...
still have that feeling of getting to set and be like, wow, I still get to do this.
Right, yeah, for sure. But then just seeing, like, everyone shows up every day, and it's just, like, it makes you want to show up. It makes, you're no matter who's on the screen or not, like, it's such a cohesive team with everybody involved, and it makes it fun, and it makes it worth it, seeing all the sacrifices that we're all making to represent people that make an insane amount of sacrifice. So, it all kind of, like, plugs into each other, so it's nice.
Talk about your character.
Sure. O.A. Zidan, he is a Arab American FBI agent, comes from a undercover military background, and I am extremely blessed and excited to kind of portray a new perspective, the good guy Muslim, and sort of, if that can push a narrative one way, change some opinions, start connecting with people in this country, around the world. As, a good guy, there's a lot of opinions about Muslims, from this whole world and what's going on. And I know, I can't single-handedly change that, but if I can, make a few people like me, then maybe that can sort of start moving a ball in a direction that is positive for diversity on TV, for people of all different races and cultures and stuff. So it's cool. And Dick took a chance on me. The character was originally Latino, and then we met, and the idea, the concept of maybe him being Arab American I was like, oh my God, please. Me and all of my Arab friends that are actors sit there like, when is it not going to be a terrorist? When is it going to be? When are we going to be the good guys? Someone take that chance. Like, come on, we're real people. To a degree, and it's just like I saw this opportunity, and I was like, if he does this could be really big, and he did. And
how far along in the sort of talks with Dick were you when he was talking about changing it to an Arab American? Had you already auditioned and stuff?
Yeah, I auditioned for it on tape and sent it in, and was like, great, I'm gonna have to learn Spanish if this goes anywhere. And then I went in for a producer session, and we talked, and they were aware of my sort of Egyptian upbringing and where I came from, and then later that day, or actually a few days later, when I already knew that I was going to go test after I had the talk, and I was like looking at the script and trying to make it work and trying to bring me. They wanted, a few things that weren't there originally. And then a script dropped, and there was Arabic in it, and there was some humor in it, and then that was just like, wow, if they're really writing towards me, then I think it could be something, really good.
Oftentimes the best writers will write towards their actors and actresses. Did you feel like after you had signed on that they started writing for you and trying to figure out what exactly you like to do and felt challenged doing?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's part of starting a new show all the time, is that you inform each other. So you can write a script and you can have an idea of who you think that character is going to be or what the person's going to look like, who's going to play that. Then that's like shifts. Then you see that the way that they walk or talk or the way that they express themselves is different than what you thought. So, and I'm also getting informed all the time with who my character is, and so then I just kind of plug that information in and might use it in other scenes that could add a layer. That's why it's so scary to start a show, because you can't get the full character in a pilot. It takes a long time. You go back in any great show that's been on for a really long time, and the first season is going to be probably wildly different than the third or fourth or fifth.
Oftentimes it's not because they have so much to say about that character in the pilot, it's because they don't know the character in the pilot yet either. No. So you really are, it's discovering it. As you guys are learning about the characters, so are we. We get the information at the same time, essentially. Sometimes there's a backstory and we have a little bit of that, but pilots are so hard. I can't imagine what it's like for actors during pilot season to be auditioning and doing pilots, and what it's like to do all of those shows, whether they get picked up or not, because they're just hard things to write and perform, I would imagine.
It's just tricky to jump into something that's, existed. Like, we're picking up just another day.
We're last to the project. So all the people who are making the pilot, they've been working on it for months. You've got studios behind it. Everybody has been developing it, and then we're the last people on, and it's like, guys, we got to make this great because we need this to get picked up.
To the day.
Yeah, I was really late to this. I was like a ninja one day, and then all of a sudden now I'm an FBI agent, and I'm like, so it was like, oh, where are my swords?
When you show up when you show up on the last day like that, or the last minute jumping onto a show, how do you find your place to talk about the role and to not necessarily give notes, but ask questions? Because if everyone is kind of steamrolling and moving through and you're one of the last people to show up, you don't want to slow anything down.
No, you humble yourself. You listen and you take on all the information from every single creative who's already been very thoughtful about it, and you try to incorporate that. And it's a really tough thing. I mean, scared the crap out of me, actually, to be on set and go like, wow, this is an independent project or something. Everybody's on the same boat. They're like, oh, we don't know how this is going to go. You know, we're all trying for something, and you're kind of all on the same page. I'm not on the same page as Dick Wolf, you know, Craig Turk, who created this, or Arthur, Peter Jankowski, all of these guys, Wolf Company, they've been doing this for a really, really long time. They know how to do this. They know what they want, and it's a great part about it. I'm coming in late, and I got to go, I hope I'm giving you what you are planning for me. And so it's one of those tricky things where, I mean, it's like anybody showing up at a job. You're like, God, you hired me, but I hope we have the same vision, the same idea of what this is going to be. Now, that's where you have to be courageous to stand up and say the things that are uncomfortable sometimes, or be like, I don't know if I agree with this, or why is this happening? And that happened more, I'd say, when we came back to film, where, you know, we're getting...
So two.
Yeah. Well, because there was like a few months in between that.
Yeah,
And so the pilot, it's like you get down and go. Like, whatever I got to do, let's figure this out. And then after that becomes more creative, I think, for me, from my standpoint.
Right. In the pilot, you're just kind of going, where's my mark? What do you need me to do?
Right.
Let's
do it. And you're learning about your character so fast, and you just go home and cry because you're like, I don't know if I'm good enough. Truly, I mean, I'm being funny, but like not really. You know,
that's the actor's biggest fear, is that you get let go from a project.
Right, but if you let go from
because it happens. I mean, it happens to some of the biggest actors possible.
It totally does, but here's the great thing about that. If you can be okay with that, like I don't ever want to prove myself for a job that I don't think I'm a good fit for. If we're not all on the same page, that's okay. Like, then I'm not the person. And our vision isn't the same thing. But, you know, everyone's like, oh, that's so cool, you were offered the part. Yeah, I guess. But I also didn't audition, and they didn't see me first, and they have no idea how I'm going to play this. So
really, you
on
didn't
the
audition.
day,
So you didn't audition for this, and there wasn't anything like
Week
that.
one was her audition.
basically, showing up to set that first day was like, here's the first time you're going to see me do this character.
You're killing it. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I screen tested. I was on set at SVU's set. Like, I was like, they know what they're getting. I was like, all right, cool. Like,
That's got to be kind of nerve-wracking for you as well, not knowing who your screen partner is going to be for this show that could last
incredibly.
10 years.
The whole team besides me, because they signed me on like, I want to say like 2 weeks before everything. So I had a script and it was just like, is she gonna be blonde, tall, short? Like who am I gonna be?
Tell me all the
partnered
important things of a person.
with? Smart, funny, tolerant of me, which she is all of the above, thank God. And then we met. Oh man, God, it's just been a funny ride. But then when we met, I just couldn't believe how lucky I got to have her as a partner. So here we are.
Where, did you guys meet on set for the first time, or was it like a couple days before?
We had a little reading in an office.
I was in LA. I was supposed to just have a couple days off. I was going to go back to Vancouver and film another show. Then I find out that I got this offer, and I'm like, what? No. I'm going to go to Van Helsing, and then I'm going to come home, and I'm going to be with my little family. That's it. Well, no, you're going to fly. We're going to see if you're going to fly to New York, and you're just going to meet the team. We didn't even know if I could do the show because I didn't know if I can get out of my days. I just want to preface this little story with the fact that I went for a run because I tried to take care of myself. I was like, anxiety, all this stuff. I went for a run at the beach where I live in LA, and it's like raining, and it's kind of cold out, and I was like, I'm just going to run in the water because that's ridiculous, and that's going to put me in a good mood.
Don't swim there. They run there.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I rolled my ankle so hard in the water, and I just showed up at the door, and I was like...
Off the plane.
I was like, what is going on with you?
For less than 24 hours.
Yeah, so I had hurt my ankle so bad. I was like laying on the couch, and I'm like, oh, swear. How am I going to get there? This is so bad. I don't want to tell them I just hurt myself, but we're going to figure this out. So anyway, if I end up, they get me off work in Vancouver. I have to fly to New York for 12 hours. I've got to meet the whole team. I meet him for the first time. I don't even know if I can do the show. They're like, we're so happy you're doing the show. I'm like, am I? I don't know what's happening. And, we sat down and went through the script, which I read one time. And we're talking character, and I was like,
I was very familiar
so
with the
jet
script.
lagged.
I read it about 600 times. I was like, oh, TTC, that's the stuff they use for explosive. And I came off real smart. That shifted eventually as we got into filming. She's now. But yeah, it was a good first impression, I guess. Yeah. I think our humor took a little while. I thought I didn't get her sarcasm for the first few texts. I was like, I think Missy hates me.
Oh, what did I say to you? I said something like...
You're like, you're quite the diva, but I'm sure I'll get used to it. And I was like, what, did I come up as a diva?
He didn't do anything. It was funny. He was
like literally the worst thing you can call
Day
on
one,
camera.
she's like, I'll deal with it. We'll deal with it. And I was like, I really like to be liked. It's a problem of mine. But, I don't know. It's just,
the first episode deals with domestic terrorism, which is something that I think we can expect a show about the FBI to deal with. But what are some of the other stories that we see your characters handle?
Snipers, sex
Space.
trafficking, the
Space Force.
frontier. We've got the city being poisoned. We got a lot of heavy stuff. Well, great things to look forward to
And I
before you
think
go to sleep.
there's just the material's endless. I mean, you can tell by just how Dick's gonna turn into a franchise. Like, the stories are, you can pick up any case file and just, obviously not make it true, but that's what's so exciting. Every time we get one, it's like a whole different movie. It's a whole different, do you do your research in a kidnapping thing, or is it now it's this, or it's analytical, or reactive, or physical, or intelligent, and it's like all these, just every crime's different, and like, it makes it so exciting.
This is terrifying. I was really scared to take this job because I was like, why would I move to the city that has the highest terrorist rate of, like, everybody wants to kill this city? Why would I want to do a show in this city, and move here? And
then learn the details of those
then learn the
attacks.
details about it and how this is happening.
Alert everybody in the audience, this is bulletproof glass. There's no reason to worry. We are in a safe space. It's okay.
But the truth is, it really mattered to me to tell the stories of the agents that are working really hard to do this, because that is the bigger story to me. That's the more important story to tell. It's obviously exciting to see all these things. By the way, there are so many things that they're onto right now talking about. We just do not hear about it because they squash it. And they catch the people, and that's not on the news.
So, I mean, I think we got to remember that, as many bad guys as we know are out there, like, there's a lot of good guys, and they don't really get as much rep.
You're a good guy. You're a good guy. You're a good guy.
Yeah.
These are people who are really outstanding citizens that they bring something different to the table. You don't have to go to FBI school to be an FBI agent. You can be superior in whatever field you're in, and then you go and you're of use to the FBI. Like, that is the coolest part to me. And by the way, they want you.
Yeah.
They really want you to think about this and consider working for them.
One of the talks I had with when I was at the Bureau, it was about the concept of, like, letting people know that, like, they can be in the FBI. Like, hopefully if we can show this diverse, group of people that are in the Bureau, can make people go, oh, I can be in the Bureau? Because I know, like, for instance, Muslim Americans, they're not out there dreaming about being in the FBI, but once you realize that we need the people that are involved in the crimes in these worlds and these of all different races and stuff to help with these crimes
and
of
they
all
are
different.
in there. That's the other thing.
Right, and you'd have no idea, and, like, but they are, and hopefully we can show that.
Didn't you meet somebody?
Yeah. I don't know what I'm allowed to give out about the real FBI guys. What do you mean?
I mean,
oh yeah, half Egyptian.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay.
I was like, I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
we met the first openly gay FBI agent in the New York office, which is just, it's awesome. You don't even think about that things. And, like, Dick did a documentary, and he opened my eyes widely to, oh, this is what we're trying to do, to show people that this is the FBI today. It's not Hoover's FBI. It's not all guys, suits, glasses, hey, excuse me, this is our crime scene.
Where no women were allowed to be in, by the way.
Right. And everyone had to be the certain height and weight. Like, it was crazy. And now it's the most diverse, outgoing, passionate, excited group of people that are so passionate about
and excited and diverse.
and diverse and excited about solving these crimes and about keeping these people safe. And it's like, wow, okay, now I know, what our job is, and hopefully that can be that can be put on the TV.
I think it is. It was. Let's get some questions from the audience. Who's got a question?
Strong ending.
Hello, guys. So
Hey.
nice to see you guys. I was going to ask how your initial meeting was, but you guys answered it already. So I was just wondering, how are you adjusting to New York? Because I know it can be kind of an adjustment. I was born here, so I know when I come to visit, it's always different. And I know being away from home, it must be a big adjustment, being away from everybody you know, everything you've ever known. How is it now that you've been here for a few months?
That's a great question. You want to start?
Yeah, I grew up in Philly, so I was a little bit closer, and there's a little bit of a sense of coming home back to the East Coast. I was in LA for a little while, and I love it. I mean, besides the fact that we work a lot, the times we get to sort of enjoy the city, it's just been amazing, and it's always been a dream, of course, to live in the Big Apple. And
you're out here.
yeah, we're out here in the
That's
Big
his
Apple.
favorite saying, which I don't get.
But the most exciting moment I had was when I got called an asshole for the first time by a random stranger going down in the subway because I didn't give him $1. And I was like, York. Thank you so much for welcoming me. So yeah, I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah, I had a very different idea. I didn't want to be here. I was terrified to move here. I have always said that New York is not my place. I've never lived here, and I've only been here for 2 weeks, maybe max at a time to work. And I've got a dog, and they have nowhere to go to the bathroom here. I'm like, I'm from Canada. I'm used to like land. I'm used to space. I like things quiet.
Mountains, right.
You know, and here I'm just like, there was a sensory overload. That being said,
We're almost half the population in this city of all of Canada.
right. California has the population of Canada. So, yes, and not that I grew up on like a farm out of nowhere, but there's just you don't even know where I grew up.
It's Canada.
This is the shit.
Even the most populated,
farm.
you can swear.
Okay.
Even the most populated places in Canada feel like, slightly open.
Yes, absolutely. There's just grass for my dog to pee. So, but I've actually loved it here. And the first thing I noticed was the people, and I really find them interesting. I find them
Interesting again?
interesting again. I'm knowing your
There we go.
your shit now. So
Take two.
I'm trying to say things properly because I don't want to be mean about where I've been living in LA, but I just find that because it's not, the industry isn't all here, it's not saturated with the same type of entertainment, I think that people are very sincere here. And I love the fact that you're going to swear at me if I'm in your way right now. Like, okay, yeah, that's fair. I'll get out of your way right now. Like, at least just tell me how you're feeling. There's no fakeness. There's no pretense. I find people to be exactly what they are. That makes me feel so comfortable and also makes me feel like I can also do that, which I think I do that anyway, but I'm always worried about, like, did I just mess that up?
No.
Should I not have said that? Should I?
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't have to worry about that here, so I love it.
Yeah, fair enough. I
Next
kind of live my
question.
life with that too.
Oh, thanks.
What other shows, movies, or characters have influenced this show and your guys' performances?
Well, I played a cop for 5 years on a show. So Maggie was a cop for 5 years, and I feel like I'm just bringing that experience right to this show. And it's been really easy, actually, and seamless to some degree.
Tell them about how Stick It has influenced your character.
Stick It was really... it hasn't yet. Well, that's not true, actually. I had to do a lot of the stunts in the gymnastics movie where I fell all the time. So there's a lot of falling in this when you do stunts. So there you go. Smart ass.
Fair enough. I've played military, which is kind of my background in the show, and kind of just getting to dive into that. And then I've also played terrorist, so kind of like playing in the undercover, like getting to pull from all of it, and sort of, yeah. I mean, it's crazy because when you are playing a terrorist role, you have to find a way to make. Like there's no wrongs. It's just your right, and it's your circumstances. These people in these countries, not all of them are these masterminds. They're people that are just promised food for their family, and they join these things, and like it's their military. It's so being able to, at least for a little bit of a time, just sort of try to find ways to find truths and honesties in those things, and then getting to bring it all together here is cool. I'm pretty pumped that I have taken the journey that I kind of took to get here.
Guys, congratulations on the show. It airs on CBS, right? Tonight. Tonight.
Yeah.
Congrats. That's
Thank you.
amazing.
I almost forgot for a second.
Everybody give them a big round of applause.
Thank
Tune
you,
in to
guys.
FBI tonight on
Thank you,
CBS.
guys.
Thank
Let's
you.
hear it.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks.